Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we want to take a look at Polestar. Can Polestar's new management finally fix the company and recorrect the trajectory course of the company? Appointment of the former CFO to lead the startup tells about the situation that there's hopes on the horizon. Polestar announcement in August that it was switching CEO provided a window on the salient condition of the electric car startup spun out of Volvo. The CVs of the two CEOs were intrusive. Out went the former design boss Thomas Ingerleth, and in came the former chief financial officer Michael Loschella. Ingerleth had been promoted from his role of head of design of Volvo in 2017 to form a new electric car subsidiary with authenticity at its core. 7 years later, Polestar products have the look and quality to match those of the mature car company. But can they really fix the Polestar company? That's the real question. Now, we're well aware of the change of leadership that Polestar announced because this was all over Twitter as well. But a bigger question is, did they give a proper farewell to the former CEO, Thomas Ingerleth? Did they actually give a proper farewell to the former head of design, Maximilian Missoni? I don't remember seeing any such thing of any farewell, any farewell videos, any farewell messages, farewell post or tweets. I don't remember seeing anything from Polestar. If I'm wrong, please send it to me. Now, what I remember is that the 1st of August, which is when the new CEO actually became the official new CEO, they posted this on Twitter. A video of the new CEO in the Polestar vehicles, like an announcement, and they had this to say: "Today marks the start of us writing the next chapter for Polestar. I've already had the pleasure of visiting several of our markets and getting to know the dedicated people across the business. I can't wait to get to work. A growing lineup with 3 cars already on the road and a unique position in the Geely ecosystem. There's no better way to start the next chapter by driving our brand new Polestar 3 through the streets of the new hometown." So that's nice. It's a nice way to announce a new CEO, but nothing about Thomas. Nothing about, a farewell to Thomas, you know. And I don't think there's been anything since. So that's the first thing I wanted to get out the way. Now, it's like I said, Polestar started putting the Polestar 3 in the hands of YouTubers. I've been waiting for this for a long time, but it's good to see that they started doing this. One of these YouTubers is Justin TSE. I watched his video, and it was a great video to watch. Just saying, it was sponsored by Polestar. Now, this was done before the new CEO came into the company, so I think this was based on the older management of the company. It's going to be interesting to see if the new CEO can actually make a difference within the company, because the company is still bounded by Geely. It's still bounded a little bit by its investors, so it's limited. He can't just do whatever he wants. Now, on other news, Polestar UK sales reached new record with 2,429 vehicles sold in September. This is fantastic. The result represents a 114% growth from September last year, as the country registry of 24.4% increase in registration of battery electric vehicles. These are the monthly registration for Polestar. I believe this is in the UK. So you can definitely see that September has really been an impressive month for Polestar. But from the start of the year, they weren't doing particularly well. In fact, they were down, based on last year. They were really down. So perhaps it's time now that they want to end the year on a strong delivery growth, which would be impressive. That's ideal. Another article we want to have a look at is Polestar boss says UK is the worst in Europe for electric cars incentives. Government needs to act fast to hit zero emission vehicle target, says UK Director Matt Galvin. So I think Matt Galvin is probably the new Polestar UK Director. There we go. So yeah, Jonathan Goodman stepped down. I think Jonathan actually retired. I might be mistaken. And Matt Galvin stepped in. So they got new lead UK manager in Polestar, new designer at Polestar, new CEO at Polestar. It's a lot of restructuring, if I'm being completely honest. But let's try to understand what he was trying to say. Government targets on the sales of electric cars are likely to be missed unless customer incentives are introduced quickly, according to the UK managing director of the Swedish car company Polestar. And here's a quote: It is widely understood and accepted that the UK is the most poorly incentivized market in Europe for transitioning for electric cars, said Galvin. And he also said, we are the worst. Makes no bone about it. It's the fact. It's no wonder that there's a lot of car makers struggling to hit 22% ZEV mandates. I mean, a lot of these targets that were set for Europe to be, green, fully green by 2040, 2050, 2030, a lot of them were unrealistic for car companies and for countries, just purely unrealistic. But there does need to be incentives if we really want to fully adopt to the electric age. So this year, the UK government introduced its zero emission vehicle mandate. The set out of percentage of zero emission cars and vans each company must sell each year. For 2024, the target is 22% for cars and 10% for vans, raising to 28% for cars and 16% for vans in 2025. The government is targeting 80% of new cars and 70% of new vans sold in Britain having zero emission by 2030, increasing to 100% by 2035. According to the latest figures from the industry trade body SMMT, only 17.2% of cars sold in the UK this year are battery electric vehicles. Car makers that miss that target will have to pay penalties, with various short-term workarounds in place to avoid those penalties, including borrowing from future zero-emission vehicle sales and buying credit from companies that have exceeded the targets. I've never think people could conceptualize something like this that is so blatantly hypocritical and quite frankly ridiculous. I mean, what is that? So the bigger companies at the top, they could just buy their way out of a problem. So you're setting these rules that will really affect the smaller companies, and the smaller companies are the ones that are boldest, who are really trying to build 100% EV vehicles like Polestar. I mean, that is idiotic. It's quite blatantly stupidity at its finest. So, as 100% of electric cars, Polestar will be able to sell credits to other car companies. A handy position for Polestar, true. But that's Polestar who does sell a 100% electric vehicle. Not every company does this. Not every smaller company can afford to sell 100% electric vehicles. So those companies will struggle. And the bigger companies like Volkswagen, they can just buy their way out of a situation or a problem. So Galvin is critical of the mandate and the effects it's having on consumers and the car industry. However, the mandate is creating a marketplace that's simply unnatural, he said. Customers will transition to electric cars when they're ready, but also when they're incentivized to do so. That is true. People will do it when they're ready, yes, but if there's no incentive, if it lacks the incentive, people are not so looking forward to doing that. And the electric car space is somewhere that the UK doesn't participate in. I don't think the UK has any major electric car manufacturing hub. And that's quite frankly terrible. You look at Germany, they got Tesla, the Gigafactory, they've got Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, they're all building electric vehicles in those states, and they're still building engine vehicles. You got China, who's the giant in electric vehicle manufacturing. So it's really interesting to see just what's going on. But aside from that, we do have a lot of things to celebrate. The Polestar 3 is officially in the world. It's being reviewed by a ton of people. It's the Polestar sponsoring videos of the Polestar 3 for YouTubers, and I'm really excited to see more Polestar videos coming out quite soon. I think they're finally getting a stand in this electric vehicle space. But also the EU and China to resume EV tariff negotiations on October the 7th. That's today. So that's going to be interesting for a lot of companies who manufactures their electric vehicle in China. That'll be very interesting, and I'm looking forward to that conversation. Because again, that's a really big problem for a lot of these companies who do build their cars in China, such as Polestar. These tariffs are not flexible. They're not profitable for anyone, not for the companies, not for the country. They're not profitable for anyone. It's terrible for the global economy, if I'm being completely honest. It's something that interrupts trade. Global economy, they thrive on trade. Trade in something that I want versus something that you want. We make a trade, I want electric vehicles, you want cash. I'll buy your cars if you give me your electric vehicles and if they're reliable. And then there's this tariff that's like, okay, I still want your cars, but in order for you to sell them to me, you have to pay a tariff Maybe it's 30%, maybe it's 40%, maybe it's 50%. Oh my goodness, that's just and tariffs are not new. One of my subscribers commented the other day that tariffs are definitely not new. There used to be a lot more tariffs on Japanese companies, back in the day, few decades ago, or a couple of decades ago. But we're gonna end this video here. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.